17 minutes. That's exactly how long I owned the most expensive mansion in River City before Lysandra Blackwood, queen of the yacht club, HOA, tried to take it from me. Picture this. I'm standing on my own private dock, just signed the papers. And here she is, platinum hair, icy stare, and 12 board members in tow threatening to seize my property over maritime safety violations. I swear if entitlement had a smell, it'd be Lysandra's perfume mixed with old money and a little desperation. But here's what nobody on that dock knew. I wasn't some clueless rich guy who won the lottery. I was the Coast Guard investigator who took down the biggest smuggling ring in Michigan's history, the same ring that used this mansion as its ground zero. In my yacht safe sits a leather journal, one that holds receipts for every illegal deal Lysandra's husband ever did from this very marina. My name's Tad Cormarmac, though most folks just call me Tad, and trust me, this is not your average HOA drama. This is how a stubborn investigator ended up blowing the lid off a criminal empire, hiding behind garden parties and lakefront property. The morning had started normal enough coffee traffic nerves. At 8:15, I signed the final paperwork in a windowless courthouse, my hand trembling just enough for Agent Reese Donnelly to notice. She slid a folder across the table full of aerial shots of the mansion's marina. "You sure you know what you're walking into?" she asked, not really expecting an answer. She had that look, the one you see on people who've read your file front to back. See, this wasn't just some thank you for testifying. They needed eyes inside someone who knew where to look, someone not easily scared. The feds let me buy this seized property for about 5% of market value, $235,000, for a place worth $4.7 million. Sounds like a steal, right? Only catch is someone else still wanted it badly enough to kill for it. The drive up was like driving my old Ford pickup into a movie set, marble driveways, sports cars, not a single lawnmower in sight. My place number 47 Marina Way looked like a fortress masquerading as an estate, all limestone glass and a manicured lawn sloping to the lake. I barely had the key in the door when something felt off. The marina's underwater lights were glowing bright green in broad daylight. That's not for show. That's for navigation, silent signals for boats that don't want to be seen. Inside the house felt staged like a fancy Airbnb where nobody actually lives. But in the study, there were charts routes through the Great Lakes, scribbled in pencil and Cyrillic, plotted to dodge Coast Guard patrols I myself had helped design. Then the boathouse, man, that was something. It looked like a 3-yacht garage, but with military-grade locks, hidden compartments, a hydraulic lift to yank a boat out of the water in 60 seconds flat. This place wasn't just for luxury, it was built for smuggling. And right then, engines, loud ones, cut through the morning air. Out on the lake, a $42 million Italian yacht aimed straight for my dock, trailed by 2 smaller boats packed with people in yacht club whites and navy blazers. I'll be honest, I almost laughed. If a hostile takeover ever looked this good, it'd be wearing a Hermes scarf and Cartier watch. Lysandra Blackwood stepped off her yacht like Poseidon's less friendly ex-wife, polished, powerful, and every inch the HOA president. Her entourage followed, fanning out across my foyer as if they'd rehearsed. She went straight to business, waving a folder of emergency maritime jurisdiction documents, which, by the way, is not actually a thing, but it sounded impressive. Then she started rattling off violations, navigation lights, dock modifications, vessel approach patterns, 23 violations in 17 minutes. Honestly, I was almost flattered by the effort. But then she slipped up, said the mansion controlled the only approach for larger vessels and that we need it back. Not access, not cooperation back, as if I'd just borrowed her favorite toy and refused to return it. That's when I realized whatever she was after wasn't about HOA rules. It was about power, about control of the deep water channel that made this property priceless to anyone with something to move quietly at night. I told them to leave. They played tough, said I had 72 hours to vacate or face emergency maritime seizure. I almost asked if they had a pirate flag, but held my tongue. I threatened to call the real authorities, not whatever make-believe patrol they were conjuring. Lysandra's cool cracked for half a second. "You have no idea what you've stumbled into," she spat. Then she made it personal, referenced two families who'd vanished after challenging the HOA. I watched them leave, but their yachts lingered offshore like sharks that hadn't finished dinner. I started digging. The mansion was full of secrets, hidden files, names I recognized. The Kovich family who'd lost their business to a suspicious fire and sold out cheap. The Nakamuras who reported odd night deliveries and had their house condemned weeks later. Captain Morrison, retired Navy, gone without a trace after snooping around underwater cables. Each file told the same story: resist the HOA and you disappear. That afternoon I found fresh evidence: recent oil stains, heavy drag marks, a waterproof case in the boathouse with manifest signed by Donovan Blackwood. The shipment's agriculture equipment that weighed as much as tanks, mining drills identical to military hardware, always came at night, always using the Deepwater Channel. Then I got a text: check your yacht. Shame about fuel lines. I didn't own a yacht, but there was one in slip 3. Gasoline everywhere, fuel lines slashed clean. If I'd started the engine, I'd have gone up in smoke. Another text: accidents happen, ask Morrison. They wanted to scare me, maybe worse. But they made a mistake: sabotage. Like that is a federal crime. I sent photos and messages straight to Reese at the FBI. Her response: keep them talking. We're building the case. As night fell, more boats appeared at neighboring docks, working boats, reinforced hulls, moving without lights. This place wasn't just a marina, it was a distribution hub for smuggled goods, and I controlled the only access point. Then a knock: Bill Hutchinson, Coast Guard vet from 3 houses down. He told me Morrison's boat was still anchored over the deep trench, exactly where he disappeared. Showed me photos. Morrison, it turned out, had found something big, maybe too big, and paid for it with his life. Bill warned me: document everything, trust no one, and for God's sake, don't dive alone. I promised I'd be careful, but the truth is I was in deeper than I'd planned. Around 3 a.m., 3 black SUVs prowled my driveway, circling headlights off, making it crystal clear that time was running out. Then my phone buzzed again. 66 hours left. Offer drops by $10,000 every hour. They tried to buy me out for less than I'd paid. A slap in the face, meant to insult, not negotiate. If someone keeps lowering their offer to get you out, what do you figure they're really scared of? Drop your theories in the comments, because I just found something in the boathouse that changes everything. The next day, the harassment went official. Marine safety inspectors, environmental agents, code officers, 4 hours of bureaucratic theater with Lysandra watching from her yacht. None of the violations stuck, but one inspector, a younger guy, kept sneaking glances at the dock. As we crossed paths, he whispered Morrison documented everything, checked the brass compass and slip 7. That night I found it, a heavy antique compass hiding a leather journal, Morrison's journal. Inside, notes, manifest, names, and one chilling line: if you're reading this, I'm probably dead. But the evidence here will burn their operation to the ground. Audio recordings, bank records, even coordinates for where they dumped bodies. Morrison's wire had caught Lysandra talking murder like she was ordering catering. I sent everything to Reese, who replied fast: task force mobilizing, 6 days till new moon. Keep them focused on you. The next day, my truck was sabotaged, tires slashed, brakes cut a note. Boats are safer until they're not. They were getting desperate. That afternoon, a process server brought a box of legal documents, HOA suing me for $47 million and demanding immediate surrender. But buried in the paperwork, I found their fatal error. They claimed rights based on an 1847 maritime charter they didn't actually possess. I tore through the mansion, searching every hidden panel, until late at night I found the original charter complete with federal authentication. This wasn't just a house, I now held legal control over the only deepwater channel for miles. The next morning, Lysandra sent her last offer, $50,000 to leave or join Morrison. I sent the charter to Reese, who called instantly. You have the nuclear option. The Riverside Riata is tomorrow night. Every player will be there. We end this. That night, I suited up in Victor's tux and walked straight into the party lights music, $100 million worth of ego floating on champagne. I called Lysandra's bluff in front of everyone, projecting the charter and Morrison's evidence on the big screen for all to see. Her world collapsed in minutes. FBI agents stormed in, Coast Guard boats locked down, the marina helicopters blazed the night with searchlights. Lysandra and Donovan arrested on charges that had kept them behind bars for decades. They found Morrison's body right where he'd said, bringing peace at last to a hero no one deserved to lose. In the weeks that followed, the mansion felt lighter. The Kovich family returned. The Nakamuras rebuilt their business. The boathouse became a museum, Morrison's journal at the heart of it all. The channel, once a highway for crime, opened to the public. I kept the mansion, but I made it a home for the community, not a fortress for crime. Reese and I, well, let's just say sometimes justice comes with a little romance on the side. If you're wondering whether it was worth it, the threats, the sleepless nights, the risk, look around. The empire Lysandra built on fear and greed is gone. A single stubborn man with the right evidence brought down a network that thought it was untouchable. Bill Morrison finally got justice. The waters are clean, the docks are open, and the real owners, the people, are back. So let me ask you, if you were in my shoes, would you have stood your ground or taken the money and run? Drop your thoughts below. Ever tangled with an HOA that forgot who actually owned the land? I want to hear your stories. Sometimes all it takes is one person willing to dig a little deeper, and a leather journal hidden in a brass compass to remind the world that justice, like the lake, always finds a way to the surface.